Hi guys, happy Friday. This is Lisa at Scrapping Fancy. I'm coming on today to my channel to do a video that I talked about on Instagram because I've been kind of having this idea for a while of something I wanted to try. And I also wanted to revisit something I used to do a lot and that I used to really enjoy doing was creating assemblage collage in large printers drawers. I've done this a lot, but luckily I still had some empty printers drawers just kind of standing in a corner, crying and waiting for me to want to play with them again. So I finally listened. One of the reasons I got away from doing the printers drawers was I started my Etsy shop, kind of started on wanting to build my own creative business. And printers drawers are, once I've got it all decorated, okay, they're difficult to sell and they're even more difficult to ship. They're impossible to ship almost. And so I kind of moved into doing something that just seemed a little more possible. But I do miss this. And so I kind of thought it'd be fun to make a junk journal in a printer's drawer because I think that a journal can be any form that you want it to be. I hope it's okay to say that. I hope I don't make anybody mad. But for me personally, like to express myself, this is something that I would love to do. And I would love to be able to think of this as expression, as journaling. So that's what I'm going to try to do and kind of revisit this thing I used to do a lot that I'm missing. So I have a printer's drawer. This is a Hamilton printer's drawer, and it is exactly what it sounds like. Printer's drawers were used back in the day when they typeset material by hand for printing. They would have these drawers with all these divisions in them, and the divisions would hold all of their letters. Now, some other printer's drawers will have the letters actually stamped on the inside of the drawer. It's like when the printer pulled out the drawer, he could see where his letter or his punctuation or whatever he was looking for was at. And they're gorgeous the way they are. And they're also like gorgeous pieces of history. The history of words, the history of letters, and the history of print. Which if you guys know me at all, you know that words are my absolute thing. I love words. I love poetry. I love all of it. So it's also, to me, it's really a personal part of history. It's the history of something that I love very, very, very deeply. So it hits me on all sorts of levels, guys. I will tell you this, if you're going to look for one to do this, you can put in printer's drawer in the Google search, the eBay search, the Etsy search, and see what comes up. You can look in thrift and antique stores, and maybe, you might get lucky. They're harder to find than they used to be, and they are also expensive. If you find one for $10, it's going to be in pretty rough shape, and you're going to have some skill to put it back together. I've bought ones like that, and luckily I've had my husband help me fix them up. But if you want one that you don't have to do much to, it's not gonna be cheap. So I'm just gonna put that right out there. And the other thing I want to tell you, because this part today is gonna look kind of boring, right? But decorating one of these is kind of like making a sandwich. And putting all of your paper or whatever you're going to put in all of your openings is like the piece of white bread on the bottom. You're making a base, okay? And then we'll come back later and I'll embellish and decorate the bases. I think of each opening in the drawer as its own little collage. So we'll come back later and we'll do that. And that's when it starts to get more fun, right? When you add like turkey and lettuce and tomatoes. And then eventually there's a third layer that's really fun. That's like the hot sauce. So it does get more interesting, I promise. And the other thing I promise is that I am not going to make you watch me glue the base down, like every piece of paper. I mean, okay, that'd be just like killer boring, and we're not doing that. So what we're going to do is talk about what you use and how you glue the papers down. And then I'll leave you alone so that you can go on with your life while I sit here all alone, gluing the paper down, just, making the ultimate sacrifice. So the first thing that we're going to do is take a ruler. I will confess, I do a lot of eyeballing when I cut, but I'm going to just try to show you, So it's going to measure, see, when you set your ruler down, you got to look at the inside of the piece of wood, like where your piece of paper is going to actually sit, right? So it's a little less than 1 1/4, and it's a little less than 2 inches. So that's the first measurement, and you can use your paper cutter, use your ruler, whatever you want to do, and cut that to size, which I did with this piece of paper. Then you want to check it and make sure that it fits in your opening. And really at this point, I kind of have to stand up and look down into the box and make sure that I'm happy, which I'm pretty happy. I think it looks pretty nice. Here's what I recommend now that you do. Once you get a piece of paper cut and you like it and it looks pretty good, use your handy dandy tweezers. Easier said than done, but you'll get it. Just, you show that paper who's boss. You take that out and here's your template, right? Okay, don't measure anymore. Don't use your paper cutter anymore. We don't like rulers. We don't like paper cutters. So here's your template, okay? Because nice thing about printer's drawers, this size, that 1 1/4, 2 inch thing that we did, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You can cut 7 pieces of paper and not have to measure. And on the opposite side, the mirror side of the shadow box, or printer's drawer, there are 7 more pieces just like that. So you can use this little template and cut 14 pieces. Then when you move on and you got to do these pieces, okay, there's 21 of them. 3 rows of 7, just like this. So, and then you can look farther down into the shadow box and check how many things can you cut with that template. It'll make things a lot slicker. Trust me. So what we're going to do is glue in a piece so you can see the process for that. And then I'm going to leave you guys alone so that you can go have a life, okay? And like I said, I'll just, I'll sit here and keep gluing pieces in all by myself. Don't worry about me. So let's put some music page in there. I think that looks really nice. Let's make sure our music is right side up first though, which it is. So because this is the way I like to do it, you can do it any way you want, I promise. Do whatever you want. I'm just using this as a template and I'm cutting like that. And I'm cutting like that. Now, I do highly recommend that you check this before you glue. So let's just drop it in. And then I got to stand up again just to see. But I think I like it. It looks pretty good. So let's use our handy dandy tweezers and get that piece of paper out of there. And then I use Mod Podge for working in a printer's drawer. I know we love our Fabri-Tac. I do too. I sprint to Michael's as soon as my bottle starts to look low. I have been making these for years, you guys, and I have a bunch of these hanging in my house, and they were moved from house to house, and the Mod Podge has not let me down. I've never had to go back in and re-glue or fix anything. It just stays. The other thing is it's a little more liquidy, and we'll talk about that more as I'm gluing it in. It's a little more liquidy for working with. It doesn't have quite as quick of a dry time, which is going to be important if you don't like something that you did. Okay, so let's open up our Mod Podge. Oops. And let's, get Mod Podge all over the box because that's good. Little flakes in there. Okay. I'll get those out of there later, okay? So here, foam brush, your friend, right? I'm gonna make sure you guys can see what I'm doing. Yep, pretty good. Okay. So, got our Mod Podge on our friendly foam brush. And then we're gonna just get it in our opening. Now, if you get it on the sides, it's okay. Mod Podge does dry, clear, and it's going to be fine. It's not possible to get it in here without getting it on the sides. It isn't possible, so don't worry. And then we want a glue-to-glue application, no air bubbles. So we're going to get it on the back of our piece of paper. And we're going to use the light and the glare to make sure there aren't dry spots. Because dry spots equal air bubbles, right? We don't like air bubbles. I know if you read about decoupage, what people say is you can poke the little hole from the air bubble and you can, I don't know what you can do to it. I've tried it, you guys, and I got to tell you, I'm not a fan of the way it looks. So I'd rather just make sure at the get-go that I'm not going to have an air bubble, okay? Then we're going to make sure that our music's the right way. And I got to get my head in here, you guys. I can't see. And make sure that it's against the border of the box. And push it down. Now, see, this is when the Mod Podge comes in handy. It's going to give me a minute. Like, I'm going to have a drink of Diet Coke. Let's sit here for a minute. And guess what? I'm still going to be able to move this piece of paper around if I'm not happy. So I'm going to take a bone folder and I'm going to go around the edges of my paper, and then I'm going to take my bone folder and I'm going to burnish it down in there. Just like that. So that is all that I'm going to make you guys watch, because otherwise, seriously, nothing exciting is going to happen without you. I promise. I'm just going to keep going spot to spot and fill the spots in, laying down the white bread. So that's our deal for today, guys. Leave me your comments. Tell me if I'm not doing a good job. Tell me if, this sucks for some reason. Tell me what you'd like. Tell me your questions. Tell me what you did today. Tell me what you had for breakfast. I'm good with all of it. And I will see you next Wednesday, right? I have a full-time job. This is not my full-time job. My lips to God's ears. I wish it was, but right now it's not. So Wednesdays and Fridays are hopefully the days that I'll be doing videos. So next Wednesday, I'll be here with as many spots as I've been able to glue in the interim. Also, we'll see how many I've gotten in there, and we'll work on some part of the next step, okay? So until then, I really appreciate anybody who is here and watched this. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I wish you so many blessings and a great week ahead. And I will see you on Wednesday. Bye.